graphic.
Yeah, the Daily Graphic says, review new taxes. GPCC urges the government.
Right.
President presents SONA today. That's on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Government has set up Fintech Innovation Fund. That's coming in from the Vice President, Dr. Baumia.
Okay.
And Jospon Group to build waste treatment plants in Lagos. Plus, teacher unions make proposals for parties' manifesto. Now, check out the back page of the Daily Graphic. Tamale Sagnarigu suffer acute water shortage.
It's something we've been focused on. We'll talk about that later to the Chronicle.
Chronicle this morning, Akufo-Addo delivers penultimate SONA today. Goldfields expends 477,000 Ghana cedis on health and security agencies. Iyoko strips lady naked. Court told scandal soaked Mahama is bad news. This is Ebo Kwanzaa writing on page 14.
All right, the Daily Guide says Nana speaks to MPs today amidst tight security, and there's a picture of a smiling president here. Hajj gate crashes in trouble. That's on page 6 of the Daily Guide. MPs impressed with SML's data center. And Mahama 24-hour economy empty slogan. Plus, government to set up Fintech Fund.
The Ghanaian Times, Jospon breaks into Africa, signs landmark deal to build waste management plants in Lagos State, Nigeria, and Vice President tasks fintech firms to develop innovative payment solution for Africa. Atachian urges calm over SML GRA revenue assurance contract and commits to free SHS TVET program review in manifestos. Not two other teacher unions demand from political parties.
The Anchor newspaper is asking a question. Limping Ghana manganese meddling in dirty politics is a question on the front page of the Anchor. To other stories, rising cases of mental health in Obuasi worrying. That's according to his psychiatric nurse. Police gun down young man at Wase Krupong. No reason cited. Officers go into hiding. And a follow-up to the story from Canada, Bernard. A family of Ghanaian killed in Canada seeks justice as GoFundMe campaign rakes in $35,000.
New finder. President Akufo-Addo delivers last and final SONA today. This is the penultimate. Upon Nkrumah directs opening of Real Estate Agency Council office by April. ICGC's 40-year journey. Pastor Mensah Otterville's testament to faith and inspiration. Fintech Innovation Fund coming to give startups greater investor visibility. Dr. Baumia speaking.
All right, the ABC News says Kwame Pienim roots for Baumia. I'm sure we'll get into why. Of course, SONA is here. The Morgan Heritage story is here. And Kojo Nkrumah is saying, open Real Estate Agency Council office by April. That's also on the front page of the ABC News.
Economy Times, Ghana Citi continues to slide. Ghana's 2023-2024 cocoa production to hit 27% lower than previous season, and e-levy collections amounted to 1.19 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. Economy Times.
All right, the Graphic Business says Baumia's tax proposals require careful analysis. That's according to an expert. In other stories, countries with strong growth forecast in Africa, Ghana missing from top 11 list. National Service Scheme requires impact assessments. That's a proposal from Professor Godfred Bokbin. And Casapreco PLC to list on GSE's equities market.
Daybreak newspaper, 53rd Cadet Corps for Police. Dampare defies Accra Commando. Comes with a photograph of Dr. George Akufu Dampare, IGP, and Henry Korte, Interior Minister. Quit notice served on Liberia camp. Occupants charge. Habib Idrisu is first Deputy Majority Chief Whip.
Let me move online. CitiNewsroom.com will export nurses to reduce unemployment. This is Maham speaking. Also, Foriata's senior presidential advisor portfolio is unnecessary. This is Kwame Pienim. Apenyomakin says it was difficult not to openly support Kenny Japan's presidential bid, and then bloated All Africa Games budget could have resettled Akosombo's spillage victims. This is the MP for North Tong. Other stories we know already. Akufo-Addo to present State of the Nation today, and then 2.37 million euro financial loss case against Atu Forcing will fail if it's political. Apenyoma King speaking there. MyJoyOnline.com. Ofreata is technically the senior finance minister. This is Isaac Adongo. Ofegbopen also thinks he does not deserve another appointment. Other stories. Why should NCA National Security League closure of radio stations, Media Foundation quizzes? And then some persons are deliberately attempting to destroy SML's reputation, according to MP Atachian. Star FM video and reasonable demands from public make MPs corrupt. This is Cletus Avoka. Also, Aveji to Amin Adams, stop needless stores and get to work. And then Maslock case, Sedinam Tamaklo, Daniel Axim face judgment April 16. If you go to Class FM, the lead story on that website, Akufo represents Sona today. He also attends late president of Namibia's funeral in Windhoek. And then, of course, a few other stories on launching the National Infection Prevention and Control Strategy. Let's get into the details.
Well, if you go to the daily graphic, I think we should look at SONA, page 13. That's what the president is doing today. Now, the story says the president will present a message on the state of the nation to Parliament today, in which is expected to enumerate some achievements over the last 12 months and spell out the roadmap for a stronger economy under the IMF-backed Economic Stabilization Program. The exercise, which has become known as the State of the Nation Address, will be the president's penultimate address ahead of his scheduled departure from office on the 7th of January 2025 after 2 terms. And Article 67(1) of the Constitution states that, quote, the president shall, at the beginning of each session of Parliament and before a dissolution of Parliament, deliver to Parliament a message on the state of the nation. So the story goes on page 20 and it highlights several things. The challenging year. It looks back on the 2023 address and focuses on a few other arms and legs that the president is expected to touch on. But just staying with the daily graphic quickly, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, GPCC, has called on the government to take a second look at the introduction of new taxes and explore alternative revenue mobilization measures. The ecumenical body suggested efforts to widen the direct tax net and reduce government expenditure to create fiscal space and ultimately ease the economic burden on Ghanaians. And this was carried in a communique issued at the end of its conference of heads of churches and organizations last Friday. And the GPCC said policy measures had to be directed at improving the productive sector of the economy.
Bernard, page 8 of the new finder says Fintech Innovation Fund coming. This is Dr. Baumia. Closely related to that on the Economy Times, page 12, numerous taxes affecting our operations, fintech stakeholders. So on one breath, Dr. Baumia says, has announced that government will establish an innovation fund to promote the development of the financial technology, that is fintech industry in Ghana, and ensure that startups have greater investor visibility. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia told stakeholders in the fintech industry at the launch of the Maiden 3i Africa Fintech Summit in Accra yesterday, and acknowledged that, quote, most of the digitalization that we are seeing are homegrown. It is driven by local fintechs and local IT firms. The summit set to hold between May 13 to 15, 2024 is themed from innovation to impact, investing in Africa's financial sector to drive Africa's transformation. Meanwhile, the stakeholders are saying the taxes are killing them. Some stakeholders within Ghana's financial technology space are bemoaning the rate at which numerous taxes are affecting their operations. According to them, this is affecting the cost of operations, hence the need for the government to reassess the tax regime. Now, Chief Executive Officer of eTransact, John Appiah, he was here some time ago to help with the drive to helping the victims of the VRA spillage. Now, he says the sector is experiencing massive growth but needs more support to create jobs. He was speaking to Joy Business when he commended the Bank of Ghana's efforts in developing the fintech space. However, the complaint is that the taxes are affecting their operations, and they want the government to take a look at that.
Well, let's get into some manifesto-related news. Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who's a private legal practitioner and convener of the Fix the Country movement, has voiced strong criticism towards former President John Mahama and his proposed 24-hour economy policy. Now, in a Facebook post, Barker-Vormawor described the policy as lacking substance and called it a strange choice for a flagship agenda. Now, if you go to page 2 of the Daily Graphic, teacher unions make proposals for party manifestos. Emmanuel Boni writes that the pre-tertiary teacher unions in the country yesterday launched a document containing their demands for incorporation in the manifestos of political parties. The unions are the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and the National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers. Now, the 13-page document titled Demands of the Political Parties on Education Delivery in Ghana for consideration into their election manifestos was jointly signed by Thomas Musa, who's the General Secretary of NAT, the President of NAGRAT, Eric Kabonu, and the President of CCTGH, King Awudu Ali. And the demands of the teachers were classified into 5 thematic areas, looking at teacher unions' view of quality education, school environment, free SHS TVET policy, teacher factor, and teacher deployment. So very interesting times there. And I'm happy that people are very ready and willing to engage.
There's a sad story on the 7th page of Economy Times. The PAC chair is begging for financial support for Volta Star Textiles. This is in Japong. I was there the other time for About Town. Very interesting place. Now, they have been making losses. We understand it's on the brink of collapsing after ending the 2021 financial year with a deficit of 3,105,433 Ghana cedis as compared to a deficit of 3,015,925 recorded in 2020, representing a decline of 3.0%. Now, Volta Star Textiles Limited, located at Japon in the Volta region, is currently indebted to the Electricity Company of Ghana for the supply of electricity, and that stands at 9.8 million as at the end of 2021. That represents 40% of its total outstanding obligations. The debt is plenty.
There's a lot of challenges. Now, let me take you to a few other stories. Apenyu Markin says the anti-gay bill is questionable, won't stand test in court. He was speaking on the point of view yesterday. Majority Leader Alexander Apenyu Markin has expressed concern about the constitutionality of the proposed Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Values bill, also known as the Anti-LGBTQ bill. He says that it will face significant legal and constitutional challenges if it were to be sent to the Supreme Court. He rated his concerns during an interview on the point of view. He also said that he prefers to be in Parliament than to get a ministerial appointment, and he believes that we should not necessarily force the president to choose half of his ministers from Parliament because it affects Parliament's independence and effectiveness. Now, still on the same website, citinewsroom.com, legalize our operations or will boycott 2024 elections. Okada riders are not happy. The Okada Riders Association have threatened to boycott this coming election if the government fails to legalize operations. The General Secretary of the Association, Abdul Razak, says the government must pay heed to their concern as it is the source of income for youth in the family. They say police harass them too much and that they should be legalized. Finally, on that website, Oforiatta's senior presidential advisor portfolio unnecessary. Kwame Pianim has been quoted as having said this. Now, a leading member of the MPP and an economist, Mr. Kwame Pianim, has voiced his disappointment over the recent appointment of Ken Oforiatta, former finance minister, senior presidential advisor, and special envoy for international trade by the president. Fatima Abubakar, the minister designated for information, defended the reassignment of Oforiatta to a new portfolio, highlighting his undeniable ability to provide valuable advice in the financial sector. However, Mr. Kwame Pianim countered this by stating that the advice of the former finance minister is not necessary as the country does not require his services. Pianim also noted that Oforiatta was the one who got Ghana expelled from the Eurobond market. He's the person who led us into the financial economic crisis that we are in. We haven't been here before. There has never been a time when Ghana has not been able to pay its bills, and we are not going to start paying them until 2025. This is the same guy who gets us kicked out of the Eurobond market. How can he be an envoy? He was speaking in an interview on Joy FM.
But there's a headline on that particular. It said, we don't have an economy, so what is he going to advise on? PNM or no Ferrata?
Oh, are you serious? Is that what he said? We don't have an Now, there's a story here. Unreasonable demands from public make MPs corrupt. Cletus Avoka is speaking. This is Star FM MP for Zebula. Cletus Avoka has blamed unreasonable demands on lawmakers by the public, especially constituents, for the corruption in the legislature. In an interview with AIB Network, parliamentary correspondent Ibrahim Al-Hassan, the Zebula MP, who has been in parliament for 24 years, pointed out that demands from the public make it practically impossible not to be corrupt. He disclosed that many MPs are using their position for business rather than engaging in lawmaking. The pressmen should have been fighting for the MPs. They should have been defending the MPs every day. Momo, every day, Momo.
It's not when somebody is going to marry self, is asking
Somebody
for
is
Momo.
sick and has to go to the hospital. You have to send Momo. Somebody is going to do wedding. You have to send Momo. They are going to do outdoor and they are asking for Momo. They are asking for school fees and whatnot.
MPs
Many of
suffer.
us lose the election or primaries not because we are not doing well, but because we are not giving Momo. How do you give money out?
Momo.
Oh, yeah.
How do you give money out if you come and stay in parliament for 8 hours debating? You are debating 5 or 8 hours. You go home in the evening to sleep. The following day, you have no money to send. You have to go out and look for money, he lamented. Asked whether the development is the basis for the accession of the former Nadoli Kaliu MP that all MPs are corrupt. The former interior minister answered in affirmative. If I'm not corrupt, how can I maintain my seat? You have to be corrupt in one way or the other. You have to look for more resources. If you have to look for more resources, you have to go out, do some work for a contractor. As a lawyer, maybe prepare a bill or do this or do that. That is a serious thing. Oh. Mami Momo. Business.
All right, now they said Ghana is missing from the top 11 list. Now Ghana is missing from the list of top 11 countries in Africa projected to experience strong economic performance forecast of 8.5% on average this year. This is because the country, which is under an IMF bailout program, is projected to end this year with growth less than 4%, albeit higher than was or had been projected by the Bretton Woods Institution. According to the African Development Bank Group, the top 11 countries to record strong growth this year are Niger, Senegal, Libya, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Benin, Djibouti, Tanzania, Togo, and Uganda.
Let's end with the Canadian story.
Yes, Bernard, the family of the Ghanaian killed in Canada seeks justice as GoFundMe campaign rakes in $35,000. Gifty Arthur is writing that the family of a Ghanaian immigrant who was gruesomely shot and killed in Toronto, Canada, back in Ghana, is seeking justice for their loved one who apparently was the breadwinner. The family in Kwawoma in the Ashanti region, which is yet to come to terms with the devastating news, is pleading with both Ghanaian and Canadian authorities to find the killers of their son who left behind 4 children. I cannot fight this battle. Save me, Lord. Akwesi, how do I cater for these children? The wife of the deceased told the media. So that's the widow.
Really tragic
seeking
story.
justice there. Yeah.
Well, a few stories. Nigeria is going through a currency crisis. Bloomberg is leading with about 4 stories on this. Nigeria is clamping down on forex traders amid persistent naira woes. All right, and basically officials are taking steps to clamp down on crypto sites. For example, they are banning crypto sites for hurting the naira. It's a very interesting write-up on that. Then there's also a story on that same website. Chocolate and cosmetics face price jolt from cocoa supply chain law. This is the EU regulation, which is meant to stop deforestation, is further pushing prices higher. Meanwhile, Ghana's cocoa production is probably at an all-time low. So that's a story they did an analysis on as well. We'll leave it here. Gentlemen, thank you for the newspaper review. Coming up